Howdy folks, I'm certain corn poppy, chronically chirping crummy chords.
I'm Amber.
And here are more crummy chords for us to chirp away at. We do that just because we can. We're not a very good bird singer, so too bad, so sad. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Keying a Double Parked Truck? I've noticed a truck at my work parking garage that always double parks. At first I didn't care because we all park like garbage sometimes. But every time I see this truck, it's in two spaces closest to the door. By far the most convenient spots. This jerk constantly does this presumably because it's an expensive truck and he doesn't want to risk it getting scratched in a tighter space. There are plenty of seldom used spaces a mere 30 seconds walk away. Granted, the garage only gets maybe 70% full on the busiest of days, so it isn't costing anyone a parking spot, but in my opinion, if he wants to take up two, he should do it in spots that are never full. Some might even say the harm is trivial, but I see it as entitled to constantly break the social contract by taking more spots than you need, selfishly making your life 1% easier at the expense of the others. Big or small, it's the principle that makes it wrong. Every time I walked by, I fantasized about putting him in his place. My favorite, for a while, was a coloring book on his windshield with a note about how it really helped my 5-year-old stay within the lines. I wasn't mad at him, certainly not at the point where it was affecting my day, but I saw at least twice a week, so it was a constantly reoccurring thought. I told my girlfriend at one point, and she thought revenge, even playful, harmless types, was stupid and immoral. And I agreed. I knew that it wasn't a healthy, well-adjusted thing to do. I even thought about it a couple of weeks ago and remember definitely deciding not to do it. But I got in super early one day and lo and behold, there's this truck in its usual spot. Only 2 other cars in the deck built for hundreds, not a soul in sight. I had noticed earlier the lack of cameras in the deck, so I knew there was 0 chance of being caught that way. As I walked by, I left a scratch by holding my keys close to my body with the tips out, not breaking stride as I casually walked past. At lunch break, the truck was still there. However, when I left for home hours later, he had moved the truck to an empty spot, neatly parked in a single spot with the scratched part facing a wall. I'm not going to lie, it made me feel good. I told my girlfriend the day that it happened, acknowledging that I wasn't proud of it and that I have no intention of doing it again. She was very upset with me because she had not entirely unearned viewpoint of me as an altruistic do-gooder type of guy. I told her that I know what I did was wrong and against my principles, and I believe it both now and then. I told her that I have no intention of doing it again because, moral questions aside, it's simply not worth the risk or anxiety I had experienced wondering if I had missed something and I was caught on camera. I'm bothered by the satisfaction I feel every time I see him neatly parked close by like a good citizen. What I did was wrong, but it seemed to make him think twice about engaging in antisocial behavior. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you're the jerk. You could have brought this up to management, or talked to him personally, done any number of things that did not involve keying his car. I also do not buy for a second that this was just a passing thought on OP's mind. The way they happened to know that there were no cameras watching so they could get away with it. Like, this 100% sounds premeditated.
It does, doesn't it? It sounds like OP's been spending their time scouting out this parking lot, seeing if there are cameras, seeing if anyone's around, waiting for the opportunity to strike. I think, like, the girlfriend and him had a conversation about this, and she's like, yeah, I think even, like, playful types of revenge would be, immoral to do. So he goes and keys the truck?
Well, exactly. Like, yeah, the coloring book idea would have been passive aggressive,
Yeah.
But, like, at least you're not keying someone's car.
Yeah. And I would say that what OP did was far more antisocial than what he's doing. Like, in a garage, sure, he's being a jerk by taking up 2 spots, but in a garage that only gets 70% full is not even, like, that big of a sin, I would say. I would say that if he wants his truck not scratched, then parking it further away is a good idea. But we also don't know if he has, like, mobility issues or any other types of things,
Well, and OP never at any point tried to talk to him or anything, just made up this whole narrative in their head.
They don't know what this person's like. They don't know anything about them. They don't know why they're double parking. They're just making some assumptions. And I think that that's not a very good thing to do.
No, and OP's basically pointed themselves the Avenger, and they see themselves like I love the whole like because my girlfriend has this not entirely unfounded vision of me as a do-gooder. It's
Yeah.
like they're clinging to this moral superiority, and it's like you do not have the moral high ground.
But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Info needed.
What info do you need, Wheel?
Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk If I Decided to Pick Up the RV Lifestyle and Left My Things Behind? I'm a 34-year-old male, and I am tired of my current situation. I'm in a small town in Vermont, and I have been for the past 6 years. Previously, I lived a bit away in New Hampshire, and lived there my entire life until 6 years ago, obviously. I'm so tired of it. It's slow, every day is the same, I have a 7-year-old with a former partner, don't live with me, and a 3 and 2-year-old with my current girlfriend. We don't live together, but she and I live close. I'm very picky about my space, and she lives with her family, who I don't get along with. We talked about moving in together, but that isn't likely. I work in animal welfare, and I do the same thing every day. I talk to the same coworkers, I get the coffee from the same place, I shop at the same place, my neighbor gets his mail while I leave the house. There's a dog walker, always yelling at this tiny white yippy dog to stop barking. Kids being too loud at the bus stop, nothing ever changes. I have a girlfriend, a 37-year-old female of 6 years, who is great, but she was born here, and has her own 10-year-old kid here as well, and has a niche job that you have to have connections with to do anything. Basically, she won't be able to find anything if she moves jobs because she devoted her entire life to just living here. I regret moving here. I thought that it would be different, but it isn't. I've been seeing a lot of videos on living in the RV lifestyle and traveling. It sounds so nice, doing something different every day. Tow my car with me, eat at different places, never stay in the same place long enough, and just experiencing so much more that the world has to offer. It sounds great. The kids would meet different kids, no school restrictions, and my girlfriend could find an identity that wasn't tied to the same one that she's had since high school. I have previously brought up to my girlfriend, and she didn't take me seriously. I have a really great job that would allow me to travel, and I would be willing to help my girlfriend find something similar to grow her horizons. I think that it would be great. I brought it up again and said that I was looking at RVs, and if I can get enough savings and a small loan, I can purchase an RV. She has been very annoyed at me because she didn't like the idea. She is very attached to her family and still lives in the same room that she did as a kid. I think that it's weird, and I want different for her. Our kids mainly share a room at her place. I don't want them to be stuck in life and get bored. That feels terrible to me. I'm getting to the point where I just want to go ahead and do it without her. We can work things out. I need to get out of this hole of misery. I love her, but I can't make myself love her more than myself. Will I be the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, I think first of all, pausing this as like you know better for her than she does, I think is a really jerk move. I understand you're not happy with your current situation, but it's also important to remember that those YouTube videos are very idealized. They are showing you the good side of this and not the downsides. Doesn't mean you wouldn't enjoy it, but it is worth considering like how much of your misery is coming from the location or how much of it is coming from something deeper in your life. I think the bigger issue here though is you are entirely unconcerned. Like you're, oh, it's going to be so good for the kids. First of all, if you split, no judge is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to give you 50-50 custody, because OP says in the comments he thinks he's going to get 50-50 custody to just roam all over the place in an RV. Mm-hmm. The parent with a fixed living situation is going to get the custody. But also, even if you did magically get 50-50 custody, being uprooted to move across the country all the time isn't necessarily going to be good for your kids. Having stability and friends is very important for the development for a lot of children, and you'll hear from kids who moved around a lot. It was often very hard.
Yeah, I mean, I moved around a lot, and it was hard. It's hard to make friends, especially when you are, moving every couple of years, right? And that's every couple of years as opposed to, constantly on the road. I think that OP would not be a jerk to go and live in a RV by themselves. Mm-hmm. They certainly can live their life however they want. If they are miserable in this situation and they want to live a different lifestyle and they can afford to live a different lifestyle, then more power to them. But they can't fool themselves into thinking that they're going to actually be a parent or be around their kids or have their girlfriend join them on this escapade, right? So she is an adult, and just because she's living a life that OP doesn't approve of, doesn't mean that she is miserable, right?
Right. I mean, I live, one town away from where I grew up, and I'm very happy with my situation. Some people, like OP, I guess, would think that I am doing something horrible and stifling myself by not moving all over, but not everyone has wanderlust.
Yeah, some people really enjoy stability, right? And what OP is pointing at is stability. Basically, if you have a stable, consistent life, then that is something that a lot of people wish they had. And there's a lot of people in the world who would die for having a nice, stable life like OP has. Now, that doesn't mean that OP has to enjoy that life, right? And it's just a matter that, different people will enjoy different things. And I think that he really needs to understand that other people have different views on life than he does, and that RV lifestyle isn't for everyone, and that he can't just dictate that his girlfriend is immediately going to be happier. In fact, she's probably going to be miserable if she likes her hometown and loves where she is, right?
And if she's doing a lot of the childcare and has her family as support for that, then you would be making things even harder.
Yeah. And who's going to teach these kids? Are they going to go to school or are they going to be homeschooled?
Well, yeah, it sounds like he's like, they won't have to worry about schooling. And it's like, you can't just not school your kids. Like,
Yeah.
And it's really hard to school your kids on the road. Like, there are people who do it, and it is not easy.
No. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I Made My Brother's Girlfriend Cry at Dinner, and He Thanked Me for It. My younger brother, Ethan, who's 23, got a girlfriend, Maya, who's 22, in January after New Year's. He met her at the university in the biology department. She's majoring in marine biology, and she's doing general biology. They've been talking for a while before she asked him out, and they began dating. I've met Maya once or twice briefly, since I sometimes get asked by Ethan to get him lunch since my work is close by. She's very shy. She's a sweet girl. Last week on Saturday, we had an end of the week dinner where Ethan invited Maya for the first time. Our family has a tradition where we invite our partners to dinner if we're only serious, and whenever we do, the whole family has to bring a reasonably decent welcome gift for the new family member. Well, we did it with my husband and my oldest brother, Isaac's wife. Apparently, it started on my father's side. Anyways, we had dinner and sat on the couch. It was time for the gifts. Everyone gave their gifts, and I could tell that she was getting a bit emotional, and I summed it up to her just not being used to it. My turn came, and I gave her a royal bluish scarf that I made with a hand-embroidered dolphin on the end of it. Maya stared at it for a solid 5 minutes, and then started crying, like completely sobbing. I began apologizing and asked if I did something wrong, while my mom got her a water, and my brother comforted her. After a bit, she calmed down and said that she was okay and that I didn't do anything wrong. But she left early from dinner with Ethan. I was truly so confused on what I did that day, and I called Ethan and asked him what was wrong. He told me that her father died 3 years ago from cancer, and that he, who was also a marine biologist, the reason she wanted to become a marine biologist, used to call her Dolly/dolphin because it was her favorite animal growing up and still is, and that his favorite color was also coincidentally blue. Maya had been depressed ever since his death, and she was so emotional that she ended up crying really bad that night because she loved the scarf. Maya wanted Ethan to tell me that she didn't dislike me or anything of the sort, and that Ethan also thanked me because the morning after, she was grinning all day with the scarf on, which hadn't happened in the year that he had known her. All right, folks, what do you think?
Oh, that's a wholesome story.
I mean, it's very nice. I'm glad that it ended up being just an emotional type of thing and not her being mad about a scarf or something like that, right? So, I mean, I think that OP clickbaited us a little bit with the title, but I mean, also I think it was a nice enough story that I wanted to share it because I thought that it was a sweet and wholesome one. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What kind of stories do basketball players tell?
Well, they tell stories probably with basketballs in them, and like they, or other type of ball stories, like the one with Tom Hanks getting trapped on the island, Castaway. Like that would probably be a story that they would tell with like Wilson, and maybe like Air Bud's type of stories because like basketballs and other types of stories like that.
Tall tales.
I mean, that's assuming that all basketball players are tall.
Yes, it is relying on a stereotype.
That's a very stereotypical. I disagree with the book. And I have licorice spice. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. Please have it a haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
All your dreams could be someone else's worst nightmare. Let them live their life.
I like that. I like that a lot. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!